Once upon a time, the Gandhi family was called the high command of the Congress party. But have the Gandhis gone from high command to no command? I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. Today, we're looking at the crisis in Rajasthan, where Ashok Gehlot, described as a family loyalist, has been the one to lead an open mutiny. MLAs that are loyal to him have all resigned, submitting their resignations to the Speaker. This is to block, of course, Sachin Pilot from becoming Chief Minister of Rajasthan. It was widely believed that Mr. Gehlot was the front runner for the position of Congress President. That effectively seems ruled out at the moment. So the big question is Shashi Tharoor versus who? But there's also an open question over whether Ashok Gehlot will be allowed to continue as Rajasthan Chief Minister, whether it is Sachin Pilot who will possibly move to central politics in the party. Could he, for example, run for Congress president? In the middle of all of this, Kamal Nath, the former Madhya Pradesh chief minister, has arrived in Delhi. Is he going to be mediator, or is he throwing his hat into the ring? And the larger question, the fracas in Rajasthan, has of course overshadowed totally and conclusively Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra, with everybody making the familiar expected taunt. कि पहले भाई आप कांग्रेस जोड़ो. Let's introduce our guests on the program today as we look at which way this story may turn. Zainab Sikandar, who's of course a writer, a political analyst, and an author, is with us. Good to see you, Zainab. Also joining us is Avinash Kalla. Avinash, of course, is a senior journalist who has spent years in Rajasthan and also reporting on Rajasthan. Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha is a lapsed Congress spokesperson but still believes in the party. Is he feeling optimistic today? I bet not, but he has some alternative scenarios that he's been wargaming. Also joining us is Rasheed Kidwai, prolific author and the man who knows the Congress better than anyone in India. I would say even than the Congress party itself, because they certainly did forecast what has just happened. And also joining us is Varun Singh. Varun Singh is a senior journalist based out of Mumbai with some very acerbic and interesting comments on what's happening in Rajasthan. So great to see you all. And I've got to start with you, Rasheed. You probably thought this would be smoother sailing than this. So did the Gandhis. But I'll tell you something. The Sachin Pilot camp told me 3 days ago that they thought this would happen, that Mr. Gehlot would say, let the Rajasthan chief minister issue be decided after he predictably won the Congress election for president, because then he would have the clout to put his own person. Chalo, ye sab to ho gaya. Ab kya hoga, Rashid?
Barkha, thank you for your kind words, which I don't think I deserve. There is a Urdu couplet which says, "Kachi mere makan ki diwar kya giri, yaron ne usme raste bana liye." This is exactly what is happening. What you were saying about high command being reduced to low command. They thought that in Ashok Gehlot, they have a loyalist, someone who has been with the party since 1971 till date, is not left the party, and one who enjoys the trust. One who was a kind of as a magician. He had performed before very young Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi when Rajiv Gandhi was prime minister or earlier. So all these things were there, and it was made abundantly clear to Mr. Gehlot that he would be made Congress president with the blessings of the Gandhis, and the issue of Rajasthan would be left to the wisdom of the High Command, again being Gandhis. And Mr. Gehlot was privy to it. I know what you're referring to, the kind of apprehension that Mr. Sachin Pilot had said, but here that's not an issue, because that matter never came. What has happened yesterday in Jaipur is unprecedented. The party of the CLP meeting was convened by Mr. Ashok Gehlot, who is a leader of the CLP in Rajasthan, and yet no MLA showed up. So this is something. This is defiant. This is unprecedented.
But Rashid,
this
Sachin
is a huge question
expected
mark.
this. Sachin Pilot expected this. You're saying no one expected it. I am telling you, 3 days ago, people close to Sachin Pilot told me directly that this is what Ashok Gehlot will try. Now, if they anticipated it, how did the Gandhi family not anticipate it?
Barkha, the political behavior is based on reason, logic, and some kind of ambition. Since as I said, about between 1971 to 2022, there have been dozens of Congress leaders, some of them very illustrious. I won't just keep taking names. Nobody has had the privilege of becoming Congress president, which is the highest post a Congress person can get, except for PV Narasimha Rao and Sitaram Kesri. Mr. Gehlot was being elevated in that league, and of course, Mr. Gehlot knew that there is Sachin Pilot and there is a contender and Gandhis wanted and all kind of background. In spite of that he has chosen to defy. That is what I'm saying. Political loyalty is highly transactional. Loyalty
Yeah.
is not like that faith where you have a kind of blind loyalty. So this is what I'm saying. That's why I started with that Urdu couplet, that nobody, I mean, at least since the Gandhis are concerned, they had not anticipated. Maybe Mr. Since he was a stakeholder, Sachin Pilot had an idea that Ashok Gehlot would be up to some trick, but that was not the impression of Sonia Gandhi had or any of them. And mind you, as I keep repeating, the meeting was convened by Mr. Ashok Gehlot. And
But
all these things, Barkha,
look
just
at
one last thing,
how, I mean,
just one
I have
last
to say, I
thing.
have some
All these things,
grudging. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
all the things that were said at the at Shanti Dhaliwal's house could have been said and spoken at in the CLP meeting. But
Rashid,
Mr.
you have to
Gehlot didn't
admit,
want to be privy to it.
because Mr. Gehlot has actually checkmated the Gandhis. He has gone for the meeting with Ajay Makan and Mr. Kharge and
I
said,
think it's
"Mujhe
a
to
bit
pata
too
hi
early to
nahi."
say that.
Okay, yeah, let's see what happens to him. And Sanjay Jha, here's before we come to your alternative scenarios, tell me what you make of this. You have been in a way supporting the group of 23 when they asked for reform within the party. One of those, Shashi Tharoor, is in the race to run for Congress president. We now no longer know who he'll be running against. It seems to me, Rashid would correct me if he thinks otherwise, stranger things have happened. It seems to be virtually impossible that Mr. Gehlot will now be trusted with running the party by the family. What do you think is going to happen now, Sanjay?
Well, you're absolutely right, Barkha. Sachin was fully aware that Ashok Gehlot was capable of going to any extreme length to stop him from becoming the chief minister. Now, this is some kind of a pathological problem that Mr. Gehlot has. And you know that publicly I've been saying this for a long time. In fact, it led to my suspension within the Congress because I've been saying that Pilot deserved to be the chief minister instead of Ashok Gehlot. And I'm convinced about it. And I think that remains the truth. The truth is, at the moment, the Congress has a very clear option. It's not so complicated. The Gandhi family needs to bite the bullet. And I'll tell you what should happen now. Number one, there is an election on. Let Sachin Pilot file for the election for the Congress president. And I can tell you it will be fun and games because then Mr. Gehlot may just have a problem on hand because he may end up reporting to Sachin Pilot. And I think this is the time to play this politics because, this old, canny, the cunning politician who's basically got a lust for power, he's basically mocked the position of the Congress president. I mean, can you imagine? Gehlot is a signatory to the Udaipur resolution of one person, one post. And here he is brazenly flouting it out. And people, say, well, this is the guy who's an ironclad politician who can move, the right pieces on the chessboard. I think the Congress party has got many immoral politicians in its crowd. It needs to get rid of them. And I'm going to say so on your show because I know many internal truths that I can't possibly say publicly or write in a book. So Mr. Gehlot, in my opinion, is not an old war horse. He's a tired and spent force. You don't need people like him in the Congress party. Imagine the Gandhis were trusting him so much that they backed him for the biggest job within the Congress, and he would have been in the league of some great leaders if you include the leaders of the past. And here is a man who's so desperate to hold on to his little regional territory for his personal ambitions or maybe protecting it for his son as a guardrail that he's willing to actually destroy the Congress. I mean, this is, in my opinion, a brazen manifestation of the
So
most
hang on,
low
hang on,
level
hang on.
politics.
Okay, I got from that you're not a fan
I've never
of
been.
Mr. Gehlot. Yes,
Yeah,
never
yeah,
been. But
yeah,
your interesting formula there is let Sachin Pilot now throw his hat in the ring and run for Congress president, right?
yep, yep.
And you've also made a suggestion of what the Gandhis need to do. We'll come to that later. I want to bring in Avinash at this point. Avinash knows Rajasthan. Avinash has observed this rivalry between Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot for years. Journalists who work in Rajasthan are sometimes find themselves crushed between these rivalries. I mean, Avinash has a story or two to tell about that on another day. At the moment, Avinash, here's the question: Ashok Gehlot cannot be president, but with the majority of the MLAs with him, he can of course continue as chief minister whether the Gandhis love it or hate it, because the numbers are with him. Will the numbers remain with him, Avinash?
Barkha, the way things moved out yesterday, it is very clear that all these MLAs are going to stay with him. He has a thing or two with everybody, and then he knows them personally. He knows where they can be, twisted around to keep them in the herd. And it was very interesting. All this exercise happened around noon. When Ashok Gehlot was in Tanot, and all of a sudden these MLAs start getting calls from different places. And the interesting thing is that while all this is happening, you say that Mr. Pilot's camp had an idea that this might happen, but they didn't do much to contain. I've spoken to a couple of MLAs who were there at Shanti's place. They said, we didn't even get a call from Sachin Pilot's camp. For all practical purpose, at the moment, Ashok Gehlot has got all the numbers with him, and he will arm twist. And being the Congress president was never his first choice. He never wanted to be there. It was clear from day one. Gandhi should have accounted for
Yeah,
that. And I agree.
Let me jump in there because we just lost you on camera, but we heard your point. You're saying Ashok Gehlot never ever wanted, in fact, to be Congress president. And as Avinash reconnects to us, let me get others. Who would want to be Congress president over Rajasthan Chief Minister? Zainab, first you. I think you captured what everybody is going to say. This joke is going to live for a long time. Congress Jodo before Bharat Jodo. If you can't fix your party, how can you fix India? That's what you said on Twitter. Zainab, go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, this is this is almost farcical what we're seeing happening. And for me, the big takeaway, frankly, is not who's going to be Congress president and who's going to be Rajasthan chief minister. It's that the Gandhis no longer command authority. Zainab?
That's true. First of all, Congress has been told for now years, ever since BJP has shown how invincible they are, that they have a leadership problem, and the leadership lies with the Gandhis, and the problem lies with them. They haven't been able to keep the party together. They haven't been able to even have the loyalists on the same page. If you see the Chintan Shivir that here the panelists are talking about in Udaipur, I mean, it was just chaos. It was just a half-baked contemplation camp where people were discussing even the ideology. They were discussing whether they should toe the majoritarian line or not, and forget the ideology that the Congress wants to stick on. They had no idea where the leadership is going. So obviously, these internal mutinies are bound to happen. Now, as for Ashok Gehlot ji, no matter what anyone says, he is the Rajasthan chief minister because all the MLAs backed him. Sachin Pilot didn't have that. As much as I like him or anybody likes him here, I mean, he didn't have that clout. He didn't have the backing. So obviously the man with the maximum power. And since when does having a good loyalist base become cunning? I mean, it's very easy to, call, senior leaders names. But fact of the matter is, Gehlot ji has had a long innings in politics and he's reached here after doing much work.
I think Sanjay Jha, I know I'm interrupting you, but I think Sanjay Jha wants to interject briefly because he's the one who called Gehlot ji cunning. Go ahead, Sanjay. I'm saying G because he's much elder than me, Mr. Gehlot. Go ahead, Sanjay.
I'll tell you why I completely disagree with what Zainab is articulating here. The election that was won last, Zainab, was not won by Gehlot. It was won by Pilot. Let's get that absolutely clear. I have seen Sachin. I have been with Sachin during those 5 years. Yes, it's true that everyone plays a role, but it's Sachin who resurrected the Congress party, which Mr. Gehlot had brought down to 21 seats. And I think the same mistake that Rahul Gandhi made with Jyotiraditya in Madhya Pradesh, he should have given the job then to Sachin. And I don't know whether you're aware, but I know that Sachin was assured the job within 1 year. I don't think you're aware of that fact. And Mr.
No, I think we're all aware.
Mr. Gehlot had been twice chief minister. He had been twice chief minister. Why did he have
Barkha, I always say this, that the biggest problem with Congresses is that they cannot hear criticism. They just pounce the minute somebody on the outside, because they believe they know the whole truth and nothing but the truth, and anybody on the outside saying anything, commenting anything will be wrong because they don't know the internal truths. To be honest, we don't need to know the internal truths, because we are seeing how Congress is playing on the outside, and that's what really matters. They've lost state after state. They have no idea where their party is headed. The party is imploding. Jyotiraditya Scindia or not, or Sachin Pilot or not, there have been endless mutinies. How about Punjab? Look at what happened to Captain Amarinder Singh. Isn't the
Yeah.
same playbook being played
I,
out? We've
I,
seen it all in the
I have
past.
to
So what are
say,
we discussing?
yeah, I have to say, Sunil Jakhar of Punjab, once with the Congress, now with the BJP, had a hilarious tweet, Rasheed, where he said, "Who is going to be the Charanjit Channi?" There it is, deja vu. Who will be the Channi of Rajasthan? Implying that it doesn't matter who the MLAs want. This is going to be a decision foisted from Delhi. Now, I'm going to play out for all of you and then come back to the panel. Ajay Makhan. Ajay Makhan is one of the observers for the central leadership. Ajay Makhan has declared today that Gehlot's demands are untenable, making it quite evident that Mr. Gehlot is not in the race to be Congress president. And I have two questions for the panel after this, after we listen to Ajay Makhan. Who then is contesting against Tharoor? And will Ashok Gehlot remain the Rajasthan chief minister? But first, let's listen to Ajay Makhan.
देखिए, सबसे पहले तो आप लोग ये समझ लें कि मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे जी और मैं, हम दोनों के दोनों बतौर ऑब्जर्वर यहाँ पर आए थे और कांग्रेस विधायक दल की मीटिंग मुख्यमंत्री जी से पूछ करके, उनकी अनुमति से, उनकी सहमति से और उनकी कन्वीनियंस से रखा गया। मुख्यमंत्री निवास के ऊपर ही उन्होंने कहा शाम को 7 बजे रखना है, तो उनकी कन्वीनियंस से ही ये मीटिंग रखी गई, जो सबसे पहले आप सब लोगों को हम बताना चाहते हैं। दूसरा जो महत्वपूर्ण बात है कि जो विधायक नहीं आए उनको हम लोग लगातार हम कह रहे थे कि हम 1 to 1 सब लोगों की बात सुनने के लिए यहाँ पर आए हैं, तो कोई भी बात हो आप हमें कहें। खड़गे जी और मैं हम अलग से बैठ करके 1 to 1 सबकी बात सुनेंगे और कोई फैसला नहीं हो रहा है। जो आप बात कहेंगे वो बात हम दिल्ली जाकर के बताएंगे और कांग्रेस अध्यक्षा सबकी बात सुनने के बाद 1 to 1 हर एक से बात करने के निर्देश हमारे पास में है। लिहाजा उसके बाद में शांति धारीवाल जी, डॉक्टर जोशी और प्रताप काचरियावास, ये तीनों विधायक उनके नुमाइंदे के तौर के ऊपर हमारे पास में आए और उन्होंने 3 शर्तें रखी। सबसे पहले तो उन्होंने कहा कि बेशक आप अगर रेजोल्यूशन पास करना है कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष के ऊपर छोड़ने का, तो बेशक रेजोल्यूशन पास करें, लेकिन उसके अंदर फैसला उसका 19 अक्टूबर के बाद में होना चाहिए। तो हमने कहा कि अगर अशोक गहलोत जी रेजोल्यूशन मूव करते हैं कि कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष के ऊपर सब चीजें छोड़ी जा रही हैं और 19 अक्टूबर के बाद में, क्योंकि अब अशोक गहलोत जी खुद ये कह चुके हैं कि वो कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष का के उम्मीदवार हैं, तो 19 अक्टूबर के बाद में जब वो खुद अध्यक्ष बन जाएंगे तो अपने ही रेजोल्यूशन के ऊपर अपने आप को ही एम्पावर कर रहे हैं, तो इससे बड़ा कन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट नहीं हो सकता, तो ये आप इसको मत करिए। लेकिन उन्होंने कहा नहीं, ये पब्लिकली आपको कहना पड़ेगा और रेजोल्यूशन का हिस्सा बनाना पड़ेगा कि बेशक रेजोल्यूशन आज पास हो लेकिन 19 अक्टूबर के बाद ये इंप्लीमेंट होगा। दूसरा, हम लोग जब कहा कि हम सबसे अलग अलग एक एक करके बात करेंगे, तो उन्होंने कहा नहीं, हम ग्रुप्स में आएंगे। तो हमने कहा कांग्रेस की हमेशा से ये प्रथा रही है कि हम लोग सबसे एक एक बात करते हैं ताकि फ्री फ्रैंकली बगैर किसी दबाव के जो भी विधायक कहना चाहे वो अपनी बात कहे। तो उन्होंने कहा नहीं, हम लोग ग्रुप्स में आकर के आपको बात कहेंगे और ये भी आपको पब्लिकली कहना पड़ेगा। तीसरा, उन्होंने जो पॉइंट जो उन्होंने बोला कि 102 जो विधायक उस वक्त लॉयल थे, अशोक जी के साथ में थे, उनमें से ही कोई बनाया जाना चाहिए, सचिन पायलट या उसके ग्रुप में से नहीं बनाया जाना चाहिए।
Okay, so that's quite a long list of demands there. Varun, while we still have you in your connection, we usually make jokes about Sanjay Jha's internet connection being as rocky as the Congress
I don't know,
party.
something has happened today.
But today it's you. Today you're the Congress equivalent of the internet. Go ahead, Varun, your thoughts.
So, to be honest, I don't know what makes Sanjay Jha say that Gehlot के जगह पे पायलट को बना दो. Gehlot has 102 out of that 82 MLAs are willing to resign for him. You cannot make someone a CM who doesn't even have five MLAs, camping behind him. And that clearly shows that I don't know why he again says that Pilot ke balboote pe they won Rajasthan, whereas it is pretty clear that it was Rajasthan BJP wasn't up to the mark. People were unhappy with Vasundhara Raje at that point of time, and that is the reason Congress could come to power. Secondly, I feel today Sonia Gandhi must be missing Ahmed Patel and Pranab Mukherjee, her trusted lieutenants who could actually solve such issues by a click of their hand. And such a major intelligence failure that they couldn't gauge something, and expecting someone to leave the CM post for a post of president. Rashid mentioned about the league the presidents of Congress have been, but
I made two. Are you back, Varun? I
there.
made too many jokes. Varun, we've lost
I
you
am there.
again.
I can hear you.
No, but your camera's off.
I can hear you. I'm there. I'm there.
We can't see you. We can't
No,
see you. So
no
let's
call.
maybe-
I am on the phone. I am not on the phone. I'm not on a call.
This is sounding like what must have happened when Ashok Gehlot suddenly said, "मुझे तो पता ही नहीं, मेरा तो कोई phone ही नहीं उठा रहा है." Okay, Varun, we've got to
क्या हो गया मुझे भी नहीं पता चल रहा है.
We've got to
नहीं,
remove you
I'm
briefly and get you to reconnect. Hang on, Varun. Rashid, jump in. What happens now? What happens now? And what do you make of the entry of Kamal Nath into this space? Rashid?
Yeah, so Barkha, the only logic of rationale of bringing Ashok Gehlot was to settle the Rajasthan issue, and since he is kind of from a Congress point of view, he is defied. So I think there will be a new player, and there are plenty of them who have been very keen. I think we tend to exaggerate when we say that the MLAs are loyal to to the chief minister. It's not a case, and I'll dwell upon it in a moment. But I'm just telling you, you saw when Amrinder Singh was removed, not a single MLA came to his rescue. Mr. Gehlot enjoys his status as a leader of Congress party. Congress registered party in Rajasthan. The moment he is removed, you will see there will be a sharp decline. And one last thing, you see.
So hang on. So
Barkha,
are you saying he will be removed? Are you saying it is your estimation that Mr.
No, I
Gehlot
cannot
will be removed
speculate.
as Rajasthan Chief Minister?
Well, if he loses the trust of the whatever the low or high command, then I think it's just a matter of time, days, weeks, when he's the Congress would get rid of him. See, you must remember, Barkha, one thing about the Congress party or for any political party, it cannot be at the expense of the leadership. The problem in the Congress at present is the photograph that you're showing, the kind of the two camps, that Sonia camp and Rahul Gandhi camp. They may be mother and son. They may be having a lot of affection for each other, but their political worldview is very different. And that is exactly what Avinash was referring to, and Sanjay, about how Mr. Ashok Gehlot was chosen, and Mr. Ahmed Patel, that Varun wants to and he was rightly so a kind of player. But Mr. Ahmed Patel had played a game that saw Kamal Nath, a game that saw Bhupesh Baghel, a game that saw Ashok Gehlot. Ashok Gehlot was not projected. I had written at that time, Barkha, just one line. I had said that when these people, the day this result of Rajasthan Assembly came out, Mr. Gehlot, who had won from Sardarpura, he got off and went to 23 Wellington Crescent. Mother Teresa Crescent. And the other fellow,
which is
one who had
Ahmed
won from
Patel's
Tonk,
residence. You have to explain to our
and the
audience
one who had won
what that
from
is. Yes.
yeah, and one who had won from the Tonk, he went to 12 Tughlaq Crescent. And you know what was the outcome? So there are a lot of this perceived hierarchy, a lot of games. There was a lot of games were played. And I think
Yeah.
it is for reporters, it's very important to put that games in public domain. Avinash Kalla's namesake, Avinash Pandey, who was General Secretary in charge, he had said it in a public meeting that anybody who takes, Ashok Gehlot as a chief ministerial candidate, there will be a disciplinary action against him. And Avinash Pandey at that time was AICC General Secretary in charge of Rajasthan.
Okay. Can we move to the big picture? First to you, Avinash Kalla. If there is disciplinary action against Ashok Gehlot, do you agree with Rasheed Kidwai that the MLAs loyal to him so far will no longer remain loyal? Avinash?
But it's difficult to say at the moment because as we talk, he commands either he commands the respect or he has something or the other on every MLA. The way he has functioned in the last 3.5 years, he had given a full freedom to everybody and has got many things up against. Some MLAs just before this, 2 sons of an MLAs were picked up by the cops, ACB. So that was a kind of a threat going out to others as well. So I don't think unless the High Command takes an action against Ashok Gehlot, the current lot of MLAs are not going to budge anywhere because they are all waiting. They are all
But I think,
waiting to see.
there's a feeling now that there will be disciplinary action. Varun, I'm just going to let you complete your point and
It's
then
a
go to
thing,
Yeah.
Barkha. It's a thing. Uh, as Rasheed rightly pointed out, and Sanjay said, I'll add to what Sanjay said. Uh, Credit due to Sachin Pilot, he actually ran really hard to get people from 21 to 100. As Varun rightly said, that BJP would have been out of power because people were not happy with Vasundhara. Is not a case, Varun. If you look at Rajasthan, BJP loses with only a margin of 20-25 seats, which could be adjusted here or there. To get it from 21 to here was a good effort. And look at Mr. Gehlot's case. This time it was Sachin Pilot working. In the previous election, it was Dr. C.P. Joshi who worked. He got the party from 56 to 96. But among everybody else, Ashok Gehlot is a great manager. I wrote it in an article 3.5 years back. That was a chance to keep Ashok Gehlot next to Rahul Gandhi. So he has a 24/7 politician with him who thinks, breathes, and talks politics, and give Rajasthan to Sachin Pilot. That would aspire youngsters. But right now, they are in a royal deep mess. They might save it today, but believe you me, coming elections, they are in a bad soup.
Okay, I'm going to let Varun completely, sort of briefly complete his point, and I really want to ask Sanjay Jha after that and Zainab, who are at different ends of this argument. Sanjay Jha now has a theory that the Gandhis, Priyanka Gandhi, will be back alongside Shashi Tharoor and Sachin Pilot. Is this some utopian pipe dream? But before that, Varun and Zainab. Varun, go ahead.
I was saying that probably Sonia Gandhi might be missing her trusted lieutenant, but more than that, what I see is that just like Punjab, how they served it to Aam Aadmi Party over here, the talks that I have had with few leaders in the BJP over here and Delhi, they are now pretty confident that they are going to win it. And I don't know how much context this makes, but when something like this happened in Punjab, you had Amrinder Singh, who's now with the BJP. Ghulam Nabi Azad anyway has started siding with the BJP. I don't know about Gehlot. He is very intelligent and smart person who actually has more people than Mr. Sachin Pilot. And I think the
I'm
BJP
glad
has
you
also
brought this up
realized
because there's a sense that Vasundhara and he have a good understanding.
more than better than Sachin Pilot. That is what I'm told. And she wouldn't like to have a competitor for her own son who could be a Sachin Pilot. But what I'm also told that many in the BJP also see what is the clout of Sachin Pilot within the party right now. Sachin Pilot doesn't have that clout or that doesn't have that command that a very senior leader like Gehlot has, and Gehlot is very, no one can call him cunning just because he knows what will work. He knows that he can be a CM till the end of this tenure and not be the president. And when they lose Rajasthan, it will be double jeopardy for him that he was the CM and yet they lost Rajasthan and now he is the president. I think the Gandhis were looking for a scapegoat and in the guise of Gehlot for bursting that whole pot on him that, okay, now it's done. Because of you, we lost Rajasthan. I think he understood it.
Different perspective from Sanjay, but let me bring in Zainab and then go to Sanjay. Zainab, go ahead.
Like I said, once again, there was a time when even I rooted for Pilot to become the CM. But the fact of the matter is, Ashok Gehlot had the numbers with him, and the Gandhis need to realize that by the end of it, winning elections is actually the end that they need to work towards, and not just about Congress Party, its CWC, its advisory board, its Chintan Shivers. They need to realize what the end goal is. The end goal is coming back to power, which is the last thing they're paying attention to. I mean, come to think of it, if they today are saying that there's a conflict of interest with Mr. Ashok Gehlot, did they just discover this? Are they that clueless about members within their own party that they don't know what's happening within? They don't know, the intrigues within the party. I mean, when it came to the ED raids on the Gandhis, Ashok Gehlot was always up front and center in all of the protests, lying in the middle of the road. And suddenly today there is a conflict of interest with Gehlot, and now he's a person who should be chucked out and not believed in. So this is just happening. It's almost become a 6-month feature with Congress. Every senior leader, in the last 2-3 years is leaving after every 6 months. Why? Because suddenly the party doesn't believe in him or her. It actually started with Priyanka Chaturvedi, then went to Jyotiraditya Scindia, then in the middle, Sachin Pilot also went against the party, Amrinder Singh. So why is this happening again and again? Because the party itself is not, it doesn't have, its party in place. The cadre is not strong.
And I think that's the big story. The cadre is not strong. The leadership is not strong. Now, Sanjay Jha, you went on Twitter to say You've already said on this program Sachin Pilot must run for party president, but on Twitter you're arguing that he and Shashi Tharoor should be some sort of working presidents, and Priyanka should be back as Congress president. Can you elaborate on why and how you have come up with this model?
Well, Barkha, one point that we all need to understand, I think none of us here is born yesterday, but in politics, power is the glue. So, the moment Mr. Gehlot got the Congress High Command go ahead to become the chief minister, every MLA become a loyalist of Mr. Gehlot. If tomorrow Sachin Pilot becomes the chief minister, everybody will become a bhakt of Sachin Pilot. That's the way politics works. You saw with Charanjit Singh Channi. I mean, suddenly everybody forgot Sidhu. I think we are being a little infantile here in our, summary sweeping observations. But let me address your question. I have maintained from the very beginning that the Congress party needs a Gandhi glue to be a cohesive force. And I've been in the Congress for very long. I happen to know the Gandhis at some point at a very close level. The Gandhis is what the Congress cannot do without. So there is I have mentioned the basic dichotomy for the Congress. The country may be asking the Congress to bite the bullet and move on without a Gandhi as a leader, but the Congress will not accept that reality. Therefore, the best solution at the moment is Sashi seems to be in the hunt for the big job. And why not? He's an excellent candidate, in my opinion, terrific credentials. And at the moment, whether there are elections or not, and frankly, Priyanka can put a hat in the ring. I think Sashi will back out if that happens, and then Priyanka can have both Sashi and Sachin appointed as her working presidents. So there are many options available for the Congress, and I think it's about time they call the bluff on the Gehlot kind of politics, because let me tell you, it is people like Ashok Gehlot who have reduced the Congress party to becoming what it is today. Here is a man who, for the third time, became a chief minister at a time when all of us on the show, including Zainab, I assume, who talk about change and a new leadership, who are happy with a guy who has been a failed chief minister in his last tenure, who at 71 wants to hold on to that job. In my opinion, you got to move on with it. And it is now for the Gandhis, Barkha, to call the bluff on Mr. Gehlot. And actually, Priyanka coming center stage will take the heat off Rahul.
So you want this model. Let's in the last comments discuss Sanjay Jha's model. One, he says Ashok Gehlot is a failed chief minister. Two, he says that Priyanka Gandhi now needs to be the glue that binds the party together, run as Congress president, and keep Shashi Tharoor and Sachin Pilot as working presidents. Tharoor, of course, will back out if a Gandhi runs. I think we're pretty sure of that. So will Sachin. So I don't know how this model actually works. Sanjay, do you want to elaborate on that before I take responses to your model?
Well, let
Both
me
of them
add.
both of them won't run if Priyanka runs.
That's right. So that's exactly what I'm saying. That if Priyanka chooses to not contest because Rahul has said it, Sachin can contest, become the Congress president, and work with the Priyanka and Sashi. It doesn't matter who amongst them is the president, but the three of them run the show. And let me add a point here. I'm putting my neck on the chop. If today there are elections in Rajasthan, Ashok Gehlot will lose his own seat. And I'm telling you this from people who are in Rajasthan who have told me so for the last 6 months. Congress is heading for a wipeout under Gehlot. And I think Sachin, if he were to get the chief minister job, can still turn it around. I'm saying it again, Mr. Gehlot will lose his own seat as an MLA in Rajasthan if there are elections today or next year.
Okay, strong words there. And we have the Sanjay Jha model. I want to bring it up on the screen. So I'm just going to do that here. This is the Sanjay Jha model. Priyanka should run along with. Can I please just do that? Let me do it. Priyanka should run along with Tharoor and Pilot as working presidents. Let's keep that banner on, please. I want people to respond to it. All right, let's start with Avinash. Avinash, how does this sound? And unmute Avinash, please. Yeah.
But I don't think that works at all at this moment. I think the biggest problem with the Congress party and the perspective that it is the Gandhis. It was a chance for them to get somebody who is a non-Gandhi and come at, but they've screwed it royally as they always do. My biggest problem with the Congress party is that it's no brainer that Pilot and Gehlot don't see eye to eye. In 3.5 years, if they could not get two of their leaders to come on the same platform and sort it out, I doubt if the people would be ready to vote for that party. As of now, I don't see Priyanka Gandhi at the helm as a president and two working presidents. If you have two working presidents, then why do you need a president? Just for the
Yeah.
namesake. So that
Yeah.
doesn't work. And B, I'll come to Mr. Sanjay's point. Sanjay, I come from Jodhpur. I can tell you an MP seat might be a distant thing, But Gehlot losing Sardarpura is not an easy task. I agree to your point that Sachin really worked hard and Congress is in a bad shape, but you can't rule out Gehlot. It's not just popularity. There are two things that went into, getting you elected. So he comes with a
Okay.
lot of other
Avinash, we've
resources.
lost you on camera. We've lost you on camera, but we got the gist of what you're saying. One, if you have two working presidents, why Priyanka? Two, you can't rule out Gehlot. Varun, you want to add to that? Varun?
It was, I felt I was going through a stand-up comedy when Sanjay Jha was speaking about
Oh my
Priyanka
God.
Gandhi.
Okay,
No,
okay.
because I saw her work so tirelessly in Uttar Pradesh, and we all have the outcome in Uttar Pradesh. What a disaster Congress came out as. I don't know what is the problem. Good that we have Congress still has Gehlot, and good that Jha is out of Congress, because at least there are leaders who have some ground base, who know how the audiences or how the voters work, and they can actually, I don't know whether who wins or who loses the election, because we have seen even a Rahul Gandhi losing Amethi, which happens to be my adjacent constituency in Uttar Pradesh. My grandmother still would go to vote not for Sonia Gandhi, but they would say
Barkha, quick
कि
response.
Indira Mai को vote कर रहे हैं. So
Yeah.
when you can see Rahul Gandhi lose, so Gehlot can also lose. But how can you be blind to such clear things that more than 100 MLAs are still in support of Gehlot? Today, if Gehlot swings either ways, he can still be the CM, but a
Okay.
pilot cannot be a CM.
Okay,
Sorry,
guys,
and
I
not
have,
Priyanka Gandhi. Sorry.
Barkha, I need to make one
okay,
short
I have
point.
2 minutes left, so you've got to be brief because Zainab and Rasheed have to close for us. Sanjay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, because the great Mr. Varun Singh actually made he kind of mocked at my statement. Varun, why don't you openly just kind of also mention you're not just a political analyst? At least I'm open, I'm a Congress supporter, but you're
Yeah,
a
you have said
BJP
it
stooge.
multiple
You're a BJP
times.
stooge.
It
You're a
is,
BJP
अरे
stooge.
ठीक है.
Oh,
For the
okay,
record,
don't fight. Don't fight. Don't fight.
you're a
Don't fight.
BJP
Chalo.
stooge. You know that.
Chalo. Your
Don't be
both your
embarrassed by
ideological,
it.
but
Don't be embarrassed
Do
by
I
it.
look
as
fine?
a BJP supporter, he's rooting right now for Gehlot. And I think one question we haven't addressed is, will Gehlot join the long line of people who are leaving the party? Could that happen? The consensus here among Congress watchers seems to be the MLAs will switch whichever side the power goes. Zainab, do you agree?
To be honest, I don't think so. I think Gehlot has his entire, pack in place, and those people are going to stick with him. And it's not like we haven't seen it with other parties in the past when Thackeray can be ditched, by his MLAs and go with the Shinde. So let's not just go. So I mean, I think we are making it too simplistic, and I'm very respectfully saying this to Mr. Sanjay Jha ji. We get often in his debate, I've heard patronizing terms like this is a very infantilized sort of argument and all. We are also sitting and seeing how things are happening, and we're not just talking incidentally. We are talking about what's happened in last 7 years when Congress has been out of power. I have learned so much from Mr. Kidwai, when it comes to political reasoning and how to observe politics. So it's not like we're making stupid statements out here based on incidents that are happening. We are seeing a certain trend that Congress has been following. Congress is not going right, and every answer to every problem is not the Gandhis. Just because Priyanka Gandhi comes in and becomes a working president, suddenly everything will get solved. No, we've seen the dismal performance of Priyanka Gandhi in Uttar Pradesh. The reality is the Gandhis are reluctant politicians. They are not 24/7 politicians. Please understand, the world is going through a far right trend. There was just a lady who's a dictator who's been voted in Italy. Why? Because there is a certain certainty that people want to go in for. That's why they are
Okay.
voting for
Zainab,
far right people.
I'm
And
just going to interject. Yeah, sorry.
Congress's centrist way cannot be the way. They have to be more sure about their ways. I'm not
Okay,
saying leave secularism.
I think on ideology, another program, another time. Rashid, more immediately, I have three questions for you. Will Ashok Gehlot survive as Rajasthan Chief Minister? Will the Gandhis have to come back into the ring, as is the suggestion of Sanjay Jha, a Priyanka plus Sachin Pilot plus Tharoor formula? And third, if not Gehlot, who is and not Priyanka and not Pilot, who is the dark horse? Are we looking at a Bhupesh Baghel, a Kamal Nath? I mean, who are we looking at? Rashid, last word to you.
Yeah, so Barkha, your third question I'll answer first. I think there are plenty of them. Mr. Kamal Nath can be one. Digvijay Singh. There is no dearth of people who want to be. I don't think Gandhi family will throw their hat in the ring, because since they have made it very clear and they are not, hankering for power. In that sense, the real problem of Congress is because every time, I don't want to get into all the date-wise historical instances, but the fact is whenever there was adversity, political adversity, the Congress split. It didn't split from 2014 onwards. It's an assembly of people who are happy to be unhappy, and that is a root cause of problem. Whatever Gandhis do, they are destined to be criticized, mocked, and not only by the voter, by commentators and everyone. Because if Rahul Gandhi, projects himself as Congress president, he's seen as perpetuating dynasty. If he allows others, then he's seen as doing backside driving. So whatever he does, that's what I'm saying. Electoral success in politics is very much important. Ideology and all are also relevant. I'm not denying, but the key point is Congress is not winning election. The same Congress starts winning election. So like Naveen Patnaik, like MK Stalin, nobody would be calling them dynas. That's the long and short of it.
Okay, and to my other two questions, who will run for president? You said it won't be the Gandhis. You said the Congress is an assembly of people happy.
I give example. It can be Kamal Nath. It can be Digvijay Singh. It can be anybody. There are a lot of people. It can be Sachin Pilot also. All those people are there because, as I said, for the Congress, it's the biggest thing is to run for the office. I see a very bleak future for Mr. Ashok Gehlot.
You see a bleak future. Can you elaborate on that? Can you elaborate on that?
I'm just saying that the moment he ceased to have that kind of affection of the high command, low command, whatever Gandhis, I think there'll be a change of perception among the Congress MLAs. Remember, Rajasthan is a place for two parties so far, and people are basically loyal to the Congress. And we've seen in the case of Amrinder Singh, not a single MLA went. What happened later on is, of course, I'm saying the Congress will get wiped out in Rajasthan. It may happen. But I'm saying, before elections in Punjab, nobody left the Congress. I mean, with Amrinder Singh.
Okay, as they say, watch this space. I think 2 days ago we didn't think that there would be this kind of this scale of mutiny. If Mr. Gehlot faces disciplinary action, as is likely, will the MLAs stay with him? Will the MLAs leave with him? I think that could determine what happens in Rajasthan next. The bottom line is there's still an open race then for who will be Congress president. And Shashi Tharoor just must be thinking, oh my God, who am I actually going to be up against? So this is, and the one thing we didn't talk about, and I just want to say that in my concluding remarks, whoever timed Rahul Gandhi's yatra to coincide with the holding of the elections really did a poor job strategically, because the headlines are going to be all about this right up until I think the president is actually chosen. Leaving it there, Rasheed, Sanjay, Zainab, Varun and Avinash, please, you guys, get your internet connections to work better at the moment than the Congress's strategy. But thank you nevertheless, and to our audience, thanks as ever for watching. Take care. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.